Hello, welcome to this week's Devil in the Detail podcast. I'm Rob Parkinson, and we're here talking all things Salford Red Devils. Join the show this week, as ever, we have Paul Parkin. How was Wembley, Parker?
Yeah, it was good. It was a great weekend again. Really well organised by Shirley Bradshaw and Alan and those guys. Good laugh. Great people to be around, and most of all, just nice to be back in Wembley and see all them fans. Sadly all celebrating around when it's not us. But no, it was great to see. We missed it last year. The final was probably not all I'd wanted, not all the lift up to everything, but the heat. I mean, it was intense in the start. I was sat in the shade and it was warm. How the players run about in that for 80 minutes, I do not know. They just showed once again what athletes they really are, all of them. It was some effort, and there's some really good performances out there. And a great weekend really. One that I've paid for the last couple of days, but it's well worth it. It's great to have Wembley back in rugby league lives.
Yeah, it's been really warm, hasn't it, as well this week. It's summer rugby. This is what it's all about. Baking hot sun. Crowds back this week. Going to be exciting. Great stuff.
Yeah, well, this is what you brought in for, wasn't it? Summer rugby. Strangely enough, we rarely get a summer. We start in February and March half the time when it's still you've got your woolies on and everything, but it gets to this time of the year, and I think it sort of coincides this weather with hopefully we can keep hold of it a bit longer with lockdown ending. The people will come back out. Hopefully, rugby league crowds will see a boom. People sort of flooding to games, not being able to get out for so long, and now feeling that there's something on offer. And let's be honest, rugby league's fairly easy on the pocket. It's not an expensive sport, really. So, hopefully it has a knock-on effect and all the clubs can benefit.
Yeah, it was my son's birthday this week, so I missed the cup final. Managed to watch the replay, but we had a good party because of the sun. We had it all out now, nicely outside. Beers were flowing, family were around, good stuff. So yeah, everyone had a good weekend. You had a good weekend. Paul's keeping the economy going, so he's not here tonight. So we wish him all the best for that, Parker.
Yeah, much so. Miss him when we're not talking to him, don't we? He's listening to his opinions. He's always pretty much spot on, isn't he, Paul? He knows his stuff. And I don't really know. He fits boilers. If anyone's having a boiler fitted in this, I don't. I'm not sure. Why is your heating on? What's going on? What are you doing? No, obviously there's a lot of problems with water and that kind of thing. I get it. No, sadly missed this week, and especially after Friday night. It'd be great to see him, smiling. But sadly, somebody's going to put the taxman right, haven't they? So it fell on Paul.
Yeah, keep the boilers coming for Paul. We'll be talking about the victory against Wakefield this week. We'll go for all the big news coming out the club. We've got Paul's amateur report, and then we'll preview the game against Leeds this week. So what we'll do, we'll start with the victory against Wakefield.
You're listening to Devil in the Detail, and this is your big match review.
So Salford Red Devils were victorious. They travelled to the Halliwell Jones Stadium. They couldn't play the AJ Bell because the grass wasn't ready. So we went to Halliwell Jones Stadium, Warrington, and beat Wakefield 24 points to 14. Parker, another good win for Richard Marshall's men.
Brilliant. Yeah, another thing that's probably made our weekends better. Weather, rugby league. What more do you want? Brilliant. From a very slow start and a tough position, the lads really dug in and in the end probably didn't score as many as they could have done. They were much better than Wakefield in the second half, but overall great performance, and great to see that after a couple of early setbacks, with the Wakefield tries, the boys, no heads went down there. They knew they had it in them. In strange circumstances, if you like. It's supposed to be a home game for us. We're away again. but the lads really stuck to it. And I must say, obviously, I was down in the south waiting to go to Wembley because obviously they've rearranged. Sat with a number of other Salford fans, and one of the things that came across listening to it while watching it on our league was the Salford fans. Didn't look like there was thousands there, if you like, but they certainly made some noise and got behind. I remember a couple of times the guy commentating with Adrian Morley, I've just forgot his name, but he mentioned the Salford fans quite a lot. And it was great to hear that, and I think the players buzzed off it. Certainly in defence, there was a moment in the second half where we held them out, and just in the background, you saw Morgan Escaré running off and G'ing the fans up, and the fans, giving it him back. It was great to see. But overall, I think for 80% of that game, you couldn't really fault us. I think we were brilliant.
Yeah, I think it's acoustics, at the Halliwell Jones Stadium. I was in the press box and they were loud, has to be, and we were very, very loud, I think, because we were kind of in the corner where the stands sort of join.
Yeah.
And the noise was very, very good. I thought the boy, they got right behind the boys, which is great, because obviously not being a home game, it might have been difficult, but off the field they were in fine voice throughout. Looking at the match, Parker, started quite well. Salford kind of had a disallowed try. Kensio going over. Do you think? Obviously, we probably won't have the great view on the our league app. I couldn't see that very well because I was in the press box, which was on the other side of the field. But my dad, who was sat kind of opposite him, said it was a try. So it was a strange decision, really.
Yeah, I've heard a few people say that. My brother was at the game as well. A few people were a little bit confused about it. You can't tell. I mean, the thing is with our league, as much as it's been a fantastic service for us, it's basically one camera following a full game, and you don't get the right angles most of the time. But it's not given. It's not given, is it? We can't argue. We've seen a lot, even when they go to the video ref on Sky, they still get them wrong. So
yeah,
it's how you bounce back from that, and that's the thing. And obviously, I mean, you're going to mention it in a minute. We didn't perhaps bounce back as well as we should, but we did start the game well. We were on the front foot, and then things just went against us a little bit.
Yeah, kind of a breakout try, really, from Wakefield. We were sort of putting pressure, an interception from them, and Senior went over and scored. They doubled the lead later on, about 10 minutes later, to make it 12-0, and we were kind of looking up a bit of a mountain at that point, 12-0 down. Yeah, but even though we performed quite well, being 12-0 down really would have been a bit of a mind bender for some teams.
Yeah, another slow start in that way, in point scoring. But they did take us by surprise. And again, it's about that reaction of how you come back from that. And we weren't fully switched on. I think it's probably a little bit of a soft try, really. But after that, the game turned. Richard Marshall made a couple of substitutes, which watching it back, made a huge difference to how we performed. And these guys are big games. But we could have let it go down. We're still on shaky ground. Yeah, we battered Cats the week before. But the week before that, we'd lost to Leeds. The week before that, we'd beat Huddersfield. It's up and down. And it can get into players' minds, and they can start pointing fingers or whatever. None of that. No, they knew what they had to do. And I think they had the confidence in them and knowing how to beat Wakefield. And then it just clicked into gear all of a sudden.
Yeah, I think it did, Parky. You talk about the substitution that came on. Paulie came on, changed the game for me. I'll say it. Fantastic sort of performance from him. Richard Marshall, who you'll listen to in a minute, tells us that he brought him on earlier than he wanted to. But I thought it was unbelievable running down the kind of edges of that Wakefield defence, causing all kinds of trouble. Salford scored the first try through Escali, who went over to make it 12-6. And at that point, Parker, we had a bit of pressure put on us by Wakefield. Repeat sets on our line, and our defence held out. And that's big moments in games, that when your defence stands up to that kind of pressure, you come out the other end, gives everyone a super boost, really.
I thought our defensive effort was unbelievable for like I said earlier, for probably 80% of the game. It was superb, and every man did his bit. If one man fell off the tackle, somebody else came in. They were on the toes, ready to bring players down. You know, and what I did find was some of the hits were unbelievable. There was not like grabbing at shirts or anything like that. These were big hits that were being put in. I mean, players like Ikehefo and obviously Paul is shooting out the line and making sure that the Wakefield players got hit and knew about it. And that was different to a few weeks ago, where the players didn't look confident in defence, didn't look organised, and then also Wakefield threw a lot, moving the ball laterally. We said last week in the preview that they're a good team. Wakefield, they're good to watch. They're very entertaining. They play attacking rugby, and we just stifled them.
Thinking about it, Parky, last few weeks, say like 6 weeks ago, we had a bit of a sort of issues disciplinary wise, giving away sim binnings, giving away red cards, giving away yellow cards. Last couple of weeks, not as penalised, not as yellow cardy, not as red cardy. Why is the worm turned?
The big one for me is not giving these set restarts. A few weeks ago, we were giving them every set 6, I think. And all of a sudden, the last 2-3 weeks, you could probably, I'm sure somebody lost that somewhere, but we seem to have got them out. I don't remember too many on Friday night at all. I don't know. I think a lot of it is a confidence thing. Maybe you don't need to hang on that extra second. Maybe you don't have to force the ball out of their players out, because you know the players around you have got your back, and defensively structures are right. Just believing in each other and picking up the odd win does that for you. Overall, I don't know. I mean, obviously Richard Marshall will have talked to the lads about the discipline. I'm sure they've talked amongst themselves about it, that it just creates work. And in that heat, again, Friday night, you don't want to be giving set after set, because defensively, I mean, we did do a lot of defensive work in the first half.
Yeah.
Which you don't want to add to that by giving them another 6 and another 6. So I don't know. Maybe something's just clicked now. Maybe I don't know. But maybe, like I said, it's just the confidence that the players have got within themselves and with each other, that they can rely on each other and think, I don't need to slow the play down here, because I know these lads are set, they're ready, but and we can cover each other. But yeah, something's certainly changed in the last couple of weeks. He says, fingers crossed that we don't go back and fall into old ways. But no, that's a big thing. The discipline's been so much better in the last few weeks. There's been no silly high shots, no the technical penalties you give away, anything like that. Don't give teams the territory.
Yeah,
and you make your life a lot easier.
You trust your performance, you trust in the performance of your fellow teammates, then you trust in the process. And I think that's what it is. I think they've managed to sort of start trusting sort of what Richard Marshall's plan is, and they don't feel like they need to take into their own hands to get a result. And I think sort of the victories against Huddersfield and Castleford and the one against Wakefield will build confidence in this team, and they'll go forward into games like the one against Leeds on Friday night, thinking, we've gone to Huddersfield and won, we've gone to Cass and won, we beat Wakefield away from home as well, really. So there's no reason why we can't go to Leeds. And we obviously talk about how sort of Richard Marshall has managed to ride out the early storm so far, and you're thinking that he's quietly gone about his business, really, and turned it around, and now we're kind of, like I said before, we're kind of top of the bottom now, which is the thing. So progress is being made, and you're hoping that obviously we can continue that stampede forward. Yeah,
and it's not just defensively, is it? I think offensively this week, I went very American there, didn't I? Attacking. We look sharper, we look more organised, we have more direction. I don't know where that's suddenly come from, because again, there's not been that settled halfback partnership.
Nope.
I mean, a lot of it comes from Andy Ackers for me, who he just keeps getting better and better. But I thought too, he was really good the other night. He offered us a lot. Chris Atkin, who's been fantastic every time he's played this season. They worked together, the three of them, and set up these plays. And there was a lot of movement of bodies as well. It wasn't one of my complaints about Salford in attack is, who's getting that ball, no matter who the opposition. They know who's going to get that ball, because we make it so obvious. Friday night, that wasn't the case. There were bodies in motion all the time and making Wakefield think. I mean, again, we'll mention it shortly, but Inu's try where in 2 he turned the ball back inside to him. He could have gone wide, but Inu comes in on the angle. The defence is slightly off balance. You've got a big man like him 10 yards out. You're going to struggle. So is that something's changed in both defence and attack? And again, it might just be having a little bit more confidence and faith in themselves and what they can do.
Yeah, it's certainly something, Parky. We talk about the Inu try. What a performance by him. Kicks his goal, scores 2 tries, turning 4 into 6. That's the important thing in rugby league. And he was very good, I thought, on Friday night.
It's hard to put into words how good he was. He was great against Cass. Since he's come back, he looks rejuvenated. He looks like a different player. Defensively, I thought at the start of the season he struggled a little bit. I remember the game against Lee in the Cup, and he looked sloppy and out of place and maybe a little bit slow. But he's obviously worked so hard in the 2 months he had, suspended. And what a performance! I mean, he's an absolute. It must be a nightmare for a centre. When you look up and you see him, you think, "What now?" And then you've got Kenny Seo, who again was equally as magnificent the other night. Outside him, he may not be the tallest Kenny, but he's certainly very, very strong. And then you've got Paulie on the inside of Inu.
Yeah,
you're fighting a losing battle most ways there. But Chris and Inu, I mean, kicking is. He must kick at 80 or 90%. I don't have the stats for that, but he lands virtually. But when he misses, it's more of a shock. We've had times where we've had kickers where it's a shock if he gets one. But coming back, he's given Richard Marshall a huge headache going forward. And I think he's in probably some of the best form he's been in his time with us. But brilliant performance again from him, and he plays with a smile. And I love that in players. He looks like he's happy to be there. He loves scoring tries. He loves his teammates scoring tries. So, yeah, an unbelievable performance. One of many players, actually. We'll probably go on and mention that as we go on. But, yeah, Inu was something else the other night. Yeah.
So 12 all at half-time, Parker. Second half, they come out and it's kind of nip and tuck, really. Wakefield took the lead with a penalty from a ball steal with about 20 minutes to go. Remember back we played Leeds, we were in a similar situation where we took the points instead of going for a try, and it backfired for us then. This time it backfired for them. So is the lesson learned that you don't go for the kick, you go for the try?
I think the two were different in a few aspects, really. I think the Wakefield one was further out. The scores were locked up. He could if he pops it over and they do go the two, whatever. Ours was about 10 yards out. We just had Leeds rattled on their line. It was early in the game. For me, it was the wrong decision and did end up costing us. I think the Wakefield one was the right decision. I think plus with the heat, just give them a minute to get your breath back. They were getting the ball back. They go back the other end. I think they got another penalty in the next set when they kicked off, and maybe then probably took the wrong option. I don't know, but no, I think they were probably right in what they did at that point. Just trying to, because they probably thought there's not going to be much more in this game. 2 points might win it, whereas in our case against Leeds, at that point in the game, there was nowhere them 2 points. I think it would have put us 10-8 behind anyway. It didn't mean anything. So, but yeah, no, just one of them decisions that Wakefield made. I think it was the right one. But it's, as you say, in the end, it has worked in our favour. Maybe if they'd put it in touch, tapped it, whatever, and gone over, could have been game over the other way. So, yeah, who knows?
I think it's all about momentum, I think, in games. And I think kind of, for me, if it happens again, if you're Richard Marshall, I'd be thinking, just go for it. Because obviously a lot of teams, they seem to be going for these 2 points and then it backfires. In this situation, Salford did score the next try, but between the Wakefield penalty and us, our try, Inu's try, big defence from Salford rattled Wakefield, and I think that picked up the intensity levels and sort of the mentality of the team, and kind of helped us in with a try from Inu to make it 18-14.
Yeah, there was a shift at that point, wasn't it? I mean, think the try there you're talking about is Paulie's somehow miracle picked up this ball and then bounced about 3 of them off, and then slipped a pass out. Just unbelievable play from Mick. A great performance from Paulie. Absolutely brilliant. The last few weeks, again, another player that's really hit some form. And I'm delighted for him because he gets some stick, the big fella. But he was magnificent. But yeah, that was the try that turned it. I think even though it wasn't, it didn't stretch the lead to any great, degree as such. I think it knocked the stuffing out of Wakefield. I really do. I think it held us more or less for a set, and then this kick and it ricochets, does whatever, and then Paulie just gets the ball out and we score in the corner. I think that was the killer. Even though realistically on the scoreboard it wasn't, but no, overall that for me was the thing that changed it. But we put a bit of pressure on them at that point, and we started to grind them down a little bit, and they couldn't get in the game. They struggled to get out of their own half. So that for me was just the game. I suppose the game turner more than the game winner.
I think it set off a sort of a 7-minute period there where we were white hot. Atkin had an obstruction effort, sort of ruled out, got sort of penalised, and then we had Inu with a kick to make it 20-14, and then we scored a try with Kensio about 3 minutes later, which basically gave us that buffer, and that's the important thing, I suppose, in every game. In games like this in particular, it always comes down to one big moment, and it depends on what side of the coin you are on. If it goes for you, you go and win the game. And if you don't, you end up going down to defeat. And I think a lot of games in sort of the last let's say 2 or 3 years, when the moments come, it's always landed on our side of the coin, and you're hoping that just continues for indefinitely, hopefully.
I mean that the penalty on Atkin where Ackers had gone through again, and if he hadn't got pulled back, he'd scored. So that would have killed the game. So the Wakefield player had no choice really. But that's the kick that you take. That's the kick that makes a difference. It does open up not a gap as in a winning gap as such, but it makes it a lot more difficult. That was the right time. That was a good choice. And when you've got a kicker like in a situation like that, you do take the 2. And things like that do turn the game. You're right. There was a few incidents in that game which I think we probably got the bounce of the ball, which doesn't happen a lot.
No.
And things may have turned our way a little bit. But yeah, overall, I think we deserved it. We'd earned that right with Big Seb and Paulie bashing holes out of Wakefield's defence, and then being backed up with some huge performances from some of the other guys. I thought Ryan Lannon was tired, considering the knock he took in the first half, and I think he took another one in the second half. Doing that work, and it's players like him and Levette on a night like that in that weather that you would want more mobile, lads who can move about the pitch. And we lost him for a section of the game, and as I said, the likes of Oliver Roberts stepped up and people like that. Greg Burke again, and for me, he's probably more of a cameo from him. But Sam Luckley, or Gil Dudson, as I'm sure he is. Well, he came on. His first thing he did was bash about 3 out of the way and then offloaded it. And he tried it again. All right, he lost the ball on one of them. He was involved in a try-saving tackle where they knocked him into the post. Being able to do that changed the game as well. And we were lucky to have them players. But overall, we'd earned that right to get ourselves in them positions.
And I think obviously winning games like that make a big difference mentally. We've beginning the season with COVID and injuries and lack of form, we struggled. So to winning games like that is as important as winning at Huddersfield away, because the game, I said on my Twitter after the game, it's a game we usually lose at 12-all. It's a game which we usually drop off historically, let's say. But recent years, it's been different, Parker, and it shows where this team and the club is really mentally, that they're able to kick on now when it matters.
Yeah, well, in many ways, it's very similar to 2019 in the way that we got off to a slow start that season. We'd had a really bad run, and then all of a sudden, mid-season, it clicked.
Yeah.
And we were winning games by the odd point. Maybe scruffy wins. It doesn't matter how you get them. Just get them in. And that's what's happening now. We work, the Huddersfield one, we worked our bits off to get that. The Cats one, we were lucky because of the week it fell on. The fact that they'd had to leave a few out for the cup final, but we still had to go out and do what we did. And this week, again, another different win. But really hard fought one against a good Wakefield side. So it just shows now that we have got other ways of winning games like we did then. And we just keep picking up wins. And it's so much more encouraging, isn't it? But, Friday night for me was, there were so many players that stood up. It was hard to single players out. And we could keep going on about them. But as a team, there seemed to be this ethic of we're better than we've given ourselves, credit for recently. We know how good we can be. And they worked for it, and they got another win, and that pleases me more than the Castleford game in many ways.
Yeah, I spoke to Richard Marshall after the game, and this was to say, right, Ricky, it's Rob.
Hey, Rob.
Congratulations on a big win tonight. Talk us through it.
Yeah, it was a. There wasn't a lot between the two teams. I thought, we were neck and neck at times, and I just thought we repelled Wakefield when they had a couple of opportunities, certainly before half time. And in the second half, there was a 10-15 minute period where we defended our line pretty resolutely for 4 or 5 sets back to back. And that's that's testament to the fitness of the players and more so their attitude. Obviously, backing up last week, it was a similar team this week. And I think that's helped us. Having some familiarity within the group has been good. But our team spirit, the Salford never say die attitude was there for all to see today.
Yeah, it was a slow start, 12-0 down, and then Paulie came on and changed the game. It lifted everybody, didn't it?
Yeah, we probably made that change a little bit earlier than what I would have liked, but I just thought Wakefield started like a house on fire, and we just needed to dampen that really. And I thought Oliver Roberts and Paulie did a good job in that area, and it allowed Ryan Lannon to do some work in and around the middle. I thought our kicking game in the second half was a lot better than the first half, where we turned the ball over and we challenged Wakefield to come off the line. They're an attacking team. They're a very attacking orientated team, and they certainly challenged us. But I thought our defence was outstanding today.
Yeah, you asked questions of your squad midweek if they could back up with another big performance. Did you get the answers you wanted?
We did. I thought we did. I thought they backed up a performance against an understrength Castleford team this week with a different type of performance. I thought it was really dogged, really tough performance, and there wasn't a lot between the two teams, and we just the right edge probably won us the game with a couple of plays and a couple of skills down that side, and Christian Indy was fantastic again for us.
Yeah, you grinded out the result in that second half. How important is it? Obviously, defence and the mental strength shown in that period.
That's the game. The game is can you concentrate for 80 minutes? Are you mentally strong enough to repel the threats that you challenge with over and over and over again? And at the moment we're rising above all of that. We don't want to get carried away. We've had 2 really good performances. We'll play Leeds next, and that was one of our worst, alongside of the Warrington. So hopefully we'll get some boys back from suspension, injury, and COVID, and we could be picking from strength.
Yeah, obviously we're on 30% win ratio now. Midweek is after the game, whether it was a momentum shifter. Do you think today's win was?
I think last week did us a world of good. I thought last week, just to score that many points, it just gave us the confidence in what we're trying to do. We didn't change the plan too much this week and executed it alongside some really good contacts, wrestle, and line speed. I thought our forwards were dominant and won us the game today. And it's as simple as that, really. It's not rocket science rugby league. You just got to turn up for your mate, and we did that today.
Yeah. Any injuries to report?
Ryan Lannon got a knock, but managed to get back on the field. Andy Ackers and Morgan have got slight hamstring strains, but that's why we brought Andy off towards the end of the game. I think that's pretty much it. I've given the weekend off. They've earned the weekend off this weekend, so we'll be back in on Monday, firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, Leeds next week, another big test.
Yeah, it is. Leeds are a quality team at the moment, playing really well up there in the competition, and we had a poor performance at home against Leeds, so ill-disciplined as well. So if we fix that up, let's see how good we are. Let's see how good we can be by backing up against a really quality team in Leeds. Be interesting this week again.
Cheers, Rick. Good luck.
Thank you.
We all good for Rich?
So that was Richard Marshall talking to myself after the game, Parkin. He was, really happy with the result, really happy with the defensive effort. He says that obviously we kept them out 5 sets in that first half, which really was important in the outcome of the game.
Yeah, as I said, defensively, just some of the work was brilliant in that first half. We were under a lot of pressure, and especially from being sort of 12 down, you could easily crumble. But we didn't. The second half, again, I mentioned earlier about the one where Luckley was involved, where 3 of them went into the post to stop the player. And after that, they moved it wide and we held them out again. And that was that moment where Escaré sort of exploded in front of the fans. I think the team felt that this is us. This is what we're about. You're not gonna roll us over. We're not gonna fall away. And Richard's right what he says about that defence. What a massive difference it's been. If you 6 weeks ago, they'd have scored. There's no doubt about that. Probably a couple of tries in them periods. And when they were on top in that first half, we could have been 18, 20 odd points down. But we worked and as a team, again, just as a team, defensively, some of them players went above and beyond, and that's what you want. And he's spot on what he says.
Yeah, he talked about the attitude, the players. He asked his players, can they back it up? And they did. They backed up after last week's performance. And I think that's always been a Salford thing. Can they go again? And this team shows it can.
Yeah, back-to-back wins. It's been it's not happened this season, has it? So it is a great thing, and it must be a great feeling for the boys. They, like I say, they had to work hard for it, but there'd have been no point putting 70 on Castleford last week and losing this week, it wasn't, but it was a home game, against the team around us, a team we want to beat, and we're above in the league now. So they stayed switched on. They've obviously listened to Marshall and what he had planned this week, and they just deserved the win. They were just there was so much to like about the performance. I mean, obviously defence wins your games. With the ball, like I said before, we were a different outfit again. We looked dangerous, and you always felt that there was more in us, I think. And the more we get to play together, I think we might just get a little bit more dangerous.
Yeah, looking at the stats, Parker, top tacklers, Andy Ackers 35, Seb 25, Greg Burke 26, Josh Johnson 25, Harvey Levette 27. So forwards doing a lot of graft.
Yeah, I didn't mention Josh Johnson, did I? I don't think there's many players I've not mentioned yet. Again, he runs the ball in hard. He's not a really big lad, is he? For a front rower as such. But he ran every time he got the ball. He just runs straight and hard. And if you keep doing that for long periods of the game, the opposition don't like it. But it's good to see that our defensive stats were down this week because we didn't have to do as many.
Yeah.
I'm sure Elijah Taylor's sat in the stands somewhere thinking, why can't they do this every week? Another player that we desperately want to see again. But Ackers, what can I say? I've already mentioned him 2 or 3 times. In attack, he was superb, but 30 odd tackles. He's in the middle of everything. And now he's going to get a bit of help, hopefully. A bit more rest time going forward in the next few weeks. So I think we'll see more and more out of him, certainly with the ball in hand.
Yeah. Top meter makers, Ken Seo 192, Paulie 122, Josh Johnson 80, Williams 105, Armoroyd 85, and Inu 90. I always say every week, Parky, if you can get sort of a lot of players over 100, you go in the right direction, and we did this week.
Oh yeah, and it also shows you've had plenty of the ball. You won't win the game without it. Did you mention Seb there? Big Seb?
I didn't know. Didn't make the top. He didn't make the top 6, 7, 8, whatever he made. I can have a look if you want to know.
It just seemed that every time we got the ball, he had hold of it at some point in that set. And
the person I missed out was Lannon, 105.
I
But
mentioned,
he does
I
say,
mentioned
Richard Marshall, that Lannon did a lot of work in the middle, and I think he did. I think his style of play, wanting to be using his feet a lot, making the defence move, he made a lot of meters, Ryan Lannon.
Yeah, I said already, I think it was probably one of his best games. I thought he was brilliant, considering the knocks he took. But the last few weeks, I don't know if we go back through what we've said. I think I've singled him out a little bit for an improvement. His discipline was always a bit of an issue. That seems to have cleared up. And maybe now we're seeing the Ryan Lannon that we really want to see. He is a good player. He's a tough lad. He gets stuck in. And if he keeps his head during a game, he's a real threat. And yeah, a lot of meters. That is a lot of meters for him, because again, not the biggest lad really, but great to see. Obviously, the outside backs are going to make a lot of meters, but it's easier when you've got the ball, and people like Morgan Escaray and the two wingers bringing the ball out. It just sets us up on that front foot, and everybody else can go forward then. And as I said earlier on, we had a lot of ball in that game. We were much better than Wakefield, especially in the second half. So I'd expect us to make a lot of meters.
Yeah, Seb did 51 meters, Parker.
Wow.
Surprise?
Yeah, that does seem.
I'm only looking at Opta. I didn't count everyone myself, but.
Okay.
Well, but they might have been. It might have been
Okay.
51 meters, but they might have been 51 hard-made meters. That's the difference in it.
Plus the other work he did, like I said, the defensive work, the shots he was putting in.
Yeah.
I think he had I don't know if he had some kind of him and Paulie or whatever, but certainly Icky Info with. I'm having a bad night tonight. Our ex-player Ashurst, Matty Ashurst.
Yeah.
I don't know if he had something against him. Every time he got the ball, one of them clattered him. Poor lad. He must have known what day it was by the end. But yeah, no, I thought Big Seb I thought he made quite a few meters, but certainly defensively, he got stuck in. And good to see again another player that's not ours, but he's certainly working for the team.
Yeah, big thanks for your 3-word match reports and man of the matches. Chris and Janet Shenton, it's getting better. Their man of the match was the whole team. Colin Wilson, Friday Night Delight, Inu. Luke, massive improvement again. Chris Atkin, Dave Walling, man of the match. His man of the match was Inu. Paul's mate, Roy Ellaby, digging deep, Inu. Nicholas Fletcher, team defence, Inu. Eric Lawson, much improved performance. Inu. Christian Inu getting lots of man of the matches. Parky with his performance on Friday.
Yeah, as we said before, it was a magnificent performance from him. Not just what he did as a sort of his try scoring, his goal kicking, but what he did for the team. The bringing the ball out is such a relief to see the outside backs making 10, 15 meters with players hanging on to it that your forwards don't have to make. When he starts getting, especially in that heat, as I mentioned before, takes that little bit of stress off the big men and gives them a little breather. He takes one, Kenny Seo takes one, perhaps Ryan, Reece Williams will take one. That makes life a whole lot easier. Someone mentioned Chris Atkin, again, another great performance from the lad. I thought his partnership with Lola Hale was really good this week, and hopefully we can keep that together now. I mean, I've been fighting for Deck to get a game recently. Obviously, he took a knock or whatever's happened, but I wouldn't change the way it was Friday night now. So I don't know which way to turn.
Yeah, Stuart Shields. Paulie always a threat. Stuart Smart, better second half. James Hodgkin winning home/away. Dave Welling, substitutions change games. I have to agree with Dave there. I think Paulie coming on 20 minutes in changed the game. Ricky P and his dogs in sale, well-deserved victory. Adam Aubrey, no beer fuming. I suppose that's the thing about when you go have to play at someone else's ground, you might not get to use all the facilities.
Yeah, very much so. And he just mentioned his dogs in sale there. Mine's just nearly gone flying through the front door. Anyway, yeah, it is. I know Warrington, obviously seated areas only, wasn't it? And again, until this Monday, that's just an unfortunate sort of byproduct of that. But again, I think was it Richard mentioned last week, or was it an interview after the game about Warrington, how nice and how good they've been to us, offering us the facilities, and even offered the chance to do a captain's run, which we didn't, but we could have used, to get used to the pitch or whatever. So as much as we may have a little bit of a banter with our friends down the East Lancs there, it was nice of them, and we got somewhere to play, and it's a ground we've had a good decent record on. So other than playing at Huddersfield, I don't know where else we would have wanted to play.
David D. Key defence wins matches. In man of the match was Inu. Said the whole team showed togetherness tonight. That has been missing of late. Very well played, everyone. Andy Lancashire, now we believe Inu. OSF wins a win. Inu. SR defence was key. Lannon. Dave knocked up on the up. Inu. Mrs. Tyne. Resilience paid off in Inu. Mark Taylor said the crowd was awesome. Patrick Conley really enjoyed that. Man of the match, Johnson. John Waite, erratic but victorious. Inu. And that's it. So fantastic. We get all these 3-word match reports of man of the matches, and everyone seems very happy.
Yeah, we do get a lot more when we've won, don't we? Which is, probably it goes hand in hand. So we get a lot more. A couple of mentions for Johnson there. Again, another one of those unsung heroes, if you like. Comes into the team, doesn't play many, but when he does, he throws his weight about. I mean, hopefully this week for Leeds we'll have moves back. That competition must G players up. And Moose will know that if he doesn't do his job, somebody's ready behind with performances like that to step into his shoes. So it's great pressure, and this is what I'm saying now about this team thing, this squad. We're now getting to see, I think, what we've got there that we haven't had a chance to see before for various reasons, and getting players back into that, it's really exciting. If we can go to Leeds on Friday, I know we'll discuss that later, but if we go to Leeds on Friday and get anything from that, the next game, the club will be buzzing. Another player will probably be back fit or back from suspension or whatever else we've got. So yeah, it's superb. It is exciting, it really is.
It is exciting, Parker, and we've got lots to talk about as well. Looking at all the big news coming out of the club this week. Got Paul. Talk about the big news coming out of the club this week, Parker. Obviously, the club announced that some sort of players were vaccinated against COVID-19. Made a big sort of press thing about it on the Salford Keys. It's good that our players obviously have managed to get the jab. They're all quite young, obviously, compared to us, Parky, so they probably had to wait quite a long time. But it's good for the sport as well. So obviously, because it'll be protected from the COVID, and hopefully we'll get more games in even.
Yeah, that's the key, isn't it? At the moment, all these games, again, this week we're seeing games getting cancelled and swapped about and that kind of thing. It's it's great to see the club have took, positive steps with the lads to get them vaccinated, so we don't have this constant, it's not going to go away, we know that, but at least they've got some protection from it, and hopefully we can try and stop it spreading, certainly within the group as well. We lost a couple of games a couple of weeks back. And we don't want to do that. So it's good. Yeah, it's good that the club are leading the way, in the community, because there's still people out there who are turning their nose up at it a little bit or whatever. And, we all know how dangerous this can be. So, and now life's opening up again. It's good to keep, make sure the lads are safe, certainly for our selfish entertainment reasons, but certainly, for themselves as well. Like I said, the young lads, we don't want any long-lasting, effects or anything like that. So, no, it's great to see that they're getting the jab.
Yeah, obviously they're talking about full stadiums now, maximum capacity, the lifting of restrictions. How do you feel about that? Obviously, it's full capacity now, elbow to elbow in the stands. What's your thought process on that, Parker?
Sadly, as a Salford fan, it's not something we often worry about, is it? No, I think as long as people are just sensible, and I know that's easier said than done. You know, we saw it happened at Wembley the other week when you let people try and be sensible. Not the rugby with the football, obviously. But no, I've got no problem. I think people understand and they'll still respect people's, space and that kind of thing. But there's nothing like it, is there? When you've got a massive people all supporting the same team, your team scores, the winner in the last minute, and that bounce and everything else. We've missed that so much, and I'm sure the players have. I mean, you see the appreciation they give to the fans again, even at Warrington last week. They've obviously missed it, but that as a fan, that's one of the big things, isn't it? That feel, that buzz together, and we have missed that a lot. So no, I don't think it'll bother me too much. Maybe back when maybe grounds weren't as safe and sanitised as they are these days, it might have been a bit of an issue and a bit, and there will be people out there who will think twice, and rightly so. That's their prerogative, really. But no, overall, I think we'll be okay. It'd be great to see. I mean, I don't know how many's going to be in Headingley this week, but going forward, there's some big away days still to go for us, and it'd be great to get us all back together and be able to stand together. I mean, there's people through whatever reason over the last couple of years just haven't seen. People that you used to see week in, week out, all of a sudden. Obviously with COVID last year separating us all, and even this year, only so many people on the ground, or you had to sit somewhere else or whatever. To get back to normality and seeing your friends and getting that, get that sort of spirit together again and getting behind the team, and I think it will change. And you can see, like I say, you can see already. I mean, I was at Wembley at the weekend, and the crowd, even though there was only sort of 40,000 there or whatever, the difference it made, the atmosphere was really good for a small Wembley crowd. I mean, let's not forget Wembley wasn't even half full, but the feeling there from the two sets of fans, we were sat in the Cass end really, and their fans, it sort of brought it back to me. This is what rugby league is. This is what it's about. The people that are there, and obviously the game itself is the main thing, I suppose. But no, I'll be delighted to see everybody back, and hopefully we can all get back to our usual spots in the stand and. You get to see people like say you might not see them for the best part of 2 years.
Yeah, I think it's exciting. I think obviously you have to follow the processes that you put in place in the pandemic. It's not over, but it's on your head. You do what you think's safe, whether you wear a mask or whether you sanitize your hands or cover your face or whatever. It's on you. That's the message now. So yeah, that I'm happy about. Going back to the stadiums and fans and commentary and all that. I think it's going to be fantastic. Something exciting, adds that bit of drama as well. And obviously, when you're watching the telly, it's not the same, is it? Really, when you're in the stands and like little things like when there's like a big hit or a bomb when it goes up and that. And they get the kind of the crowd give that ooh noise. It's kind of things like that you miss when it's not full. But yeah, exciting times. Looking forward to what's going on. Obviously, I think the fact that we've got Hull Car on the 29th at home gives our kind of management team another week to look at it and see what other people do wrong and fix it for us, which is a bonus. I think, Parky, really.
Yeah, I think the other thing is with as it is at the moment, us at the AJ Bell and most teams being in modern stadiums, it's a lot easier to control. Certain situations, the flow of people, the fact that the away fans can be separated quite easily or whatever. More difficult probably, at Cass and Wakey and places like that, the older, more traditional grounds where you are going to intermingle, if you like, that kind of thing. But the AJ Bell is usually pretty well organised. It has been since we've gone back through the pandemic, the way they've, sort of made sure everybody's got masks and everything else, what's needed to get into the stadium. The ticketing, everything else. So I think we'll be okay at the AJ Bell, and we haven't got too many trips to sort of, as I say, the traditional grounds now. So I think it'll be okay. Yeah, like I say, I just can't wait to get back and get that buzz again with everybody.
Yeah, that's the thing where everyone's missed, haven't they? That sort of community feel, really, and it's getting back together in the stands and having a beer together and enjoying the rugby, because obviously it's been a miss, really. But I would say hopefully we're all getting back to a kind of a normal now. So just look after yourselves and we'll get through it. The next bit of news: 50 days till Magic Weekend, Parker. Looking forward to it. It's going to be good. I think we play Castleford. It's going to be exciting. Obviously, they'll be looking for revenge after we whooped them in Cass a couple of weeks ago. So it's going to be a good encounter, that.
Yeah, 4 times this year, won't it? We'll have met them, obviously, with the cup game and the Magic weekend. Yeah, I wasn't. I'll be honest, at the start of the season when we went on that run of, one winning, 10, 11 games, whatever it was, the last thing you want is to get sort of hiding on a big stage, if you like. But no, things have turned a little bit. We're not out of the woods yet, but we're certainly playing a better style of rugby and more successful, clearly. I like to say, yeah, Castle want revenge, but I think when you look at the two teams on paper, I looked at the Cass team at the weekend. I think both teams, if you get both teams with full squads out, they're a very even clash. And I think we said at the start of the year when we were talking about it, I think it's a really good tie for anybody in rugby league to watch. Both play a decent, or try and play a decent brand of rugby. So yeah, I've not got my ticket yet. I certainly will be doing. I think I was holding off a little bit with the pandemic to see what was happening. I didn't want to jump in and then find out I couldn't get a train or whatever to get there, bought a ticket. So, but yeah, now everything's opening up again. Fingers crossed we can stay opened up. But yeah, I'm certainly looking forward to it. It'll be a good battle.
Yeah, and it's a festival rugby league as well, opportunity for all the fans to get together and watch. What is it, 6 games in 2 days or something like that, which is, what it's all about, I suppose. It's a lot of people talk about the Challenge Cup final. You went last week. How does it compare for you?
I'll be honest. I am, as we're all aware, I'm a bit of an old fart these days, but nothing beats the cup final for me, nothing at all. The thing is with Magic Weekend, I've not always agreed with it. Maybe as a standalone fixture, not 2 points or a percentage riding on it or something like that, or make it open to all clubs of all the leagues to have some kind of 7-a-side or 9-a-side or what, just to bring the whole of rugby league together again would be better for me. But as it is at the moment, with the way the season's gone, it's been stop-start. I think just let's get as much rugby in as we can.
Yeah.
But no, nothing, not in the grand final. Compares to the cup final for me. Just the pomp and ceremony of it all and the tradition as well. That's the thing. The day out or weekend as it is, as my body will confess. But yeah, no, this Magic Weekend, I think the way they're trying to balance the fixtures out as well now. When it was always just the derbies, it became a little bit old hat. Holding OKR every year or whatever. It didn't. I know it can still happen. Obviously, these fixtures are going to get kicked up, but I think like we've got Cass makes it a little bit more interesting rather than us getting Lee again or as Widnes as it was or whatever. So yeah, no, but it's still a good occasion, and Newcastle itself is fantastic. It's a great place for a day out or a weekend out. So yeah, like I say, I'll be certainly getting tickets and. I'm sure if we carry on the good form we're in at the moment, a lot more will too. Yeah,
and it provides a spotlight for the sport as well, Parky. It'll probably make national news. We need a profile of our sport to be bigger, in the global sort of media game. So that's the kind of thing that will help, the sport grow. Yeah, people sort of wondering about the promotion of the Challenge Cup final before the actual day didn't quite show up, but on the day I thought it was quite well covered by the rugby league journalism and the national sort of journalism well. So I think we're looking forward to that and hoping that they'll learn lessons from what they did with the Challenge Cup and lessons they'll do at the Magic Weekend for the World Cup at the end of the season as well, because that's another important competition for the sport. We need that to be a success really for the people who aren't necessarily sort of tuned in to rugby league, because we all know, like the Olympics, like just about to start this weekend, people watch all kinds of sports and get engaged with it. So the Rugby League World Cup at the end of the year is an ideal vehicle to try and promote the sport and get more people who aren't engaged in the sport now.
Yeah, I think the thing with the Magic Weekend as well is that it is another showpiece for us. The Wembley was tough this year. Tough for everybody. The restrictions were still in place. Don't forget till Monday. We played, the finals on Saturday. Getting clearance, for hotels and all that kind of stuff, which was difficult for people. So I think the last 2 years, certainly ours was obviously a one-off, but I think Wembley will be going back to something like next year. People have missed it, but the Magic Weekend again, because even now you see that the cricket have got their new competition starting tonight, trying to attract a new audience during the summer, which is our time. You know, we've got to stamp our authority. I don't particularly like the idea. I'll be honest. I don't think cricket needed another format or wants one. But they've gone for it. It's getting coverage on BBC and Sky tonight. I believe that the first game. So that's that's more competition for us, and we need big events. And then the World Cup at the end of the year. We've got to get it right. For me, so far, it's been slow. The promotion of it. The Australians threatening not to come doesn't help anyone, doesn't help the sport. And if the Australians don't come, then it undermines what the World Cup is. So that's an issue for us that the Aussies and everybody else have got to sort out. I understand the fears, COVID being what it is, but I'm sure that the authorities are going to make it as safe as they can for everybody, all the visiting teams. So, but you couldn't have the competition without Australia. There'd be no point. So we need to get that ironed out. We need to get the promotion, up and running. I mean, funnily enough, we were going at the M6 yesterday, and we passed the van. It was all delivered with the World Cup logos and everything all over it. So that in itself, it caught my eye, it catch other people's eyes just looking at it. So I hope they get that spot on. We do need a really good World Cup.
But you do understand Australia's hesitancy to come over. Obviously, for them, what they're reading in the press with the rates going up and that. And Australia, I think have they shut down? I can't think where they've shut down. Is it Queensland or something? They shut like a massive area down, haven't they now? And their cases are miles lower than ours. So I suppose you can understand why they're wondering, whether to come or not. But you got to think like now, these sports teams are in bubbles, aren't they? So there's nothing stopping Australia coming over in a bubble and staying in a bubble. I think the problem is when you come to World Cups and foreign competitions like the Olympics, let's say, for example, it's more about sort of the camaraderie between the other athletes in your village, and everyone gets together and bonds and has a few beers. That can't happen now, can it? And it takes that bit of magic away from them who play in the competition. So it makes you wonder whether they think, is it worth it going over? Because I'm missing that tour experience, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I suppose there is an element of that. I mean, but you look at the Euros, the football, people travel to each team travelled around. I mean, even England, even though we had a good run with Wembley, we had to go to Rome. The Italians came here. Everyone was travelling around Europe. They are in pods. I mean, let's be honest, these are elite athletes, and we will look after them. I mean, Australia and certainly New Zealand. I mean, I think they can name individuals when they get COVID. It's that they're that hot on it.
Yeah.
You know exactly who's got it and where they are, so they just shut the whole place down. We can't do that. I mean, 60 odd million people compared to 20 in Australia and 5 maybe in New Zealand. It's not quite the same scale, and our connections to the outside world are different. Europe especially. So I understand the fears, but I just hope it all gets cleared up and we get rolling. We can get it advertised, get it get everywhere. Just throw it in people's faces so they can't not know it. It's their choice not to watch it, but they can't not know it's on.
And that's the key thing. It's about product placement in it in front of people. And I think like rugby union do that very well. We know with the Six Nations, where it's on like in February and it just seems everybody watches it. And even though they have no interest in union at all, they still are involved and physically and not physically, mentally involved in it. When really we could learn a lot from that moving into this World Cup, where if hopefully, like I say, it goes ahead, and we play well, people will get engaged. Like when we played New Zealand in the last one, where was it New Zealand when the last one at Wembley when that guy scored in the last minute, and it was people who I went to school with sort of texting me saying, "Oh, do you watch the match? I can't believe they lost." They had no interest in rugby league, but they just knew that I liked rugby league, and they knew I'd probably be watching. So it's things like that you're hoping that we can get people like them engaged in the sport, and get more involved and follow the local sides. Yeah,
I mean, even now the British Lions are over in South Africa. South Africa is being ravaged by COVID. I think all the games now have got to be played in Cape Town. They can't even move around.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, I think they've had to shut all the other places down, so they're all in one place now. And but the thing is, obviously, Sky have got it covered. It's massive. Talk Sport are covering it. You know, everything. They're having updates every hour. It's in people. So even like me, I'm not bothered about the Lions at all. Nothing. You know, I'm not a Union fan. It's not my sport. But you can't ignore it. You know who's back in the squad. You know who's fit and who's injured and who's, you know, you even find out who the South Africans are you've never heard of. You know, you start finding out who their best players are. And that's how you've got to engage, and we've got to get it covered. I don't know what the broadcasting rights are like at the moment for the World Cup. I'm hoping that, you know, it's not just one channel and that's it. But you can't, like to say, with the Lions at the moment, you can't move. They play their first game, their first test match this weekend. And today I must have heard 7 or 8 updates of squad news, and the captain's back, and that, you know, you can't avoid it, and that's the way it's got to be. And if you don't want to watch it, then, like me, that's my choice. I know it's happening, and if someone said to me, "Do you know it's happening?" I could say, "Yeah." I think in the last World Cup we had, the last Rugby League World Cup over here, you could have probably asked 95% of the population, and they wouldn't have had a clue. So a lot of work to do, but that the World Cup's got to be done right, and like you say, the Magic Weekend as well has to be worked on. We can do our own thing with that. We've got Sam Luckley, who's a Geordie, he's a big Newcastle United fan. We could use him in the Northeast to advertise us, to get the Geordies knowing that Salford Rugby League exists. You know, things like, so it's just little things that you can do as well as an individual club, and then the sport has got to look after itself as well.
Yeah, I think what it is, Parky, it's just story. I think the Rugby Union can tell a better story than we can, and I think that's the problem with Rugby League. We aren't able to find a story that cuts through to the main people. Yeah, we have our own sort of clique, our own sort of bubble of people who follow Rugby League, and we struggle to find stories that cut through to the mainstream, and that's the problem. And I know people work hard to try and do it. Don't get me wrong, but I think we just need a couple of big stories in that World Cup that cut through to the average Joe in the street to get them engaged. And then when they're engaged, you know, we can get involved, we can watch, and obviously make some money out of it as well.
Yeah, Rugby League does have a problem at preaching to the converted a lot of the time, doesn't it? You know, we tell each other what we know, that it's a fantastic sport, but we don't often tell the rest of the world. We do need a story for the World Cup. I mean, for me, you look at some of the squads. Obviously, we know the Tongans will be strong, like they were in the last one in Australia, and you know, obviously the Aussies and the Kiwis and New Guineans or whatever. All these teams, but there are smaller nations in it that could be very interesting. I mean, I don't know about their forward pack, but I know the Jamaican backline is extremely exciting. You know, the Super League stars, or you know, whatever. That could be a story.
Yeah.
You know, they could. You know, I don't want to go on to the, you know, like down the Cool Runnings thing. It's not quite that obscure. You know, that they're playing Rugby League, but they have. You know, so the Rugby League in the West Indies has been around for a while, but not as a major thing. And this could be, you know, a big breakthrough. Yeah, they've made a World Cup. You know, I don't think the USA made it, did they, this time?
No.
You know, so it's a massive thing, and it's something we can promote and say, look, you know, these countries they do have teams and they have made it. But we do it as a sport. We really need to shout a little bit louder, and that's got to come from the top. You know, it's no good me and you walk into a pub or whatever and boring people to tears like we do here once a week. You know, telling them what they already know. The Rugby League has really got to get its act together from now to the World Cup and then beyond. That's got to be the launch pad now, because like I said, there's a lot of competition out there for people. I.e., you know, like I said, we've got the 100, the new cricket thing. So, yeah, we've got to get switched on now, and hopefully it works, and the rest of the world and the rest of this country can find out what we already know about the sport.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see, Parker, see what happens there. Other news, Leeds tickets are on sale. You can buy them from the club. I think you can buy them online and pick up from the club now, because it's Thursday tomorrow, innit? So I think they've stopped selling them at the actual ground now. So yeah, that's good. Hopefully it'll be a big turnout at Leeds.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, I was going to stay it for later, but I'm going to say it now. We've won 3 out of 4, and oddly all the way. If you think about it, we haven't won any at home. I know last week's game was at home, but it wasn't. You know, so we won them all the way. and in Yorkshire against Yorkshire teams. Sorry. So yeah, might be well worth the trip. We all know how it feels when you win at Headingley, or most of us do when you win at Headingley. It's a rarity for a Salford fan, but when you're there and you see it, it's a real event. So yeah, hopefully the usual masses will travel over.
Yeah, Salford Red Devils Foundation. They're having a course if you're unemployed on the 29th of July and every Thursday after that, where you can update your CVs, interview techniques, courses. It runs from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's Eccles College. Is it Chatsworth Road? It'd be good that obviously.
It's a great thing to offer, isn't it, to the wider community? And again, as we say, and Paul King mentioned the other week that the work that's done by the foundation that doesn't get talked about. This is something not about rugby, nothing to do with rugby. This is for the community and people out there who struggle. A lot of people lost their jobs during COVID and are really struggling now. And I know, like you say, they're going to show you what courses might be available to get you onto the next level. To maybe a change of career, or whatever. It's a great thing to offer. And again, it's just another thing that this club or the foundation do that people don't know about. And no, it's a really, really good thing. And in these times, any help is fantastic. And again, the foundation are just going above and beyond.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like I said, Salford Red Devils Foundation, do fantastic stuff in the community. If you want to get involved, contact james.molyneux@salfordcc.ac.uk. I think Paul King said it's like the biggest secret in rugby league, obviously, what the foundation do. So things like this that get promoted and people who want to get engaged with it, can improve the situation. And obviously with the COVID situation, people have lost jobs, haven't they? So gives them a helping hand back to employment and self-confidence as well. That'll grow as well, which will be great. So yeah, don't forget to get involved in that. 29th of July, every Thursday after that at Eccles College. Other bits of news as well, talking about the Salford Red Devils Foundation Parky, they've running some summer camps out of the AJ Bell. Multi-sport activities for kids in the summer. I think it's great. Obviously, like I said, it's another string to the bow. One hand they're educating, the community, and the other hand they're helping the kids in the summer and have a good time.
Yeah, and it looks like as it is at the moment and going forward, we were set for quite a nice little spell with weather as well. So
yeah,
let's get the kids out and get them running about, won't it? Tire them out before. So you can sit down for a glass of wine perhaps later on at night. No, brilliant. Again, I think they ran them last year, didn't they? Or like the year before. Sorry, last year would have been a bit difficult with COVID. Another fantastic thing that they offer. Well run and all, I believe. And I hope obviously. I think there's a problem in this country at the moment with out of school things where as soon as they finish the summer, that's it. Nobody's responsibility except the parents, who many have still got to go to work or whatever else. And this gives them a place for the kids to go and get that exercise they need. And not all kids are fortunate enough to have 2 weeks in Marbella or something, are they? So it's a really good thing, and I hope they've been in touch with the schools and let everybody know that it is available. And I hope it's really well attended because, like you say, these guys are giving up their time as well. Just get the kids fit. Hopefully, get them hooked on rugby league in one way or another, and might be the future players and fans of tomorrow.
Yeah, ages from 8 to 14. It's on one from the 2nd of August to the 5th of August, 9th of August to the 12th of August, 16th of August to the 19th of August, and the 23rd of August to the 26th of August. So yeah, if you haven't got your kids signed up for that, contact the foundation and sign them up now. Other news as well, Ellis Robson and Nathan Roebuck are alone with us till the end of the season. 2 young lads will gain a load of experience playing for us.
Yeah, it's a good chance for them, isn't it? Moving forwards, Warrington are obviously looking at freshening up their squad next year. Darryl Powell will have his own ideas. These lads, who knows, maybe surplus to requirements, and it gives us a great chance to, they're in the shop window for us in that way that we can we can have a look. Obviously, Richie Marshall did have connections at Warrington, so he'll know of them. I think we brought them both in not long ago, didn't we? And then we had to release them back, and they never got to play. So, yeah, it's good. It's more bodies as well, just at a time where we seem to be getting few back, but a bit more competition again. Young lads, like you say. And, it's great news, isn't it? More and merry. We lost a couple, I said last week, didn't I, that we'd lost players, obviously, Darcy Lussick and Elliot Kay out of the squad completely. Watkins and Brown, maybe, we don't know. It's probably doubtful we'll see them this season, maybe. So you're already 4 players down at your initial squad. So we're bringing a couple more in. Great. Probably for me, shame we couldn't keep the 2 lads from Saints as well. But I'm just a bit greedy. But no, good luck to them, and I hope it all works out for everybody.
Yeah, opportunity club gives player opportunity. That's what we do. That's what the Salford way. And you're hoping that these lads will take the opportunity, which obviously gives us an opportunity to grow as a team, win a few games, go up the league, and who knows where we end up now. Final bit of news, Parker. Back to the Salford Red Devils Foundation. Richard Marshall is hosting a rugby league defensive session for our local amateur rugby clubs coaches from 7 till 8 p.m. on the 4th of August. To be honest, we are quite sound defensively, so it might be it'll be good to watch.
Yeah, I think especially for amateur coaches who obviously do an amazing job. These people again give up the time just for the love of the game and to support people, but to pick up tips from the pros. It's not something I don't remember a Salford manager doing anything like that before. Any of them. You go down, you can listen to him, you can maybe pick up a few of the defensive patterns that he puts on and take them back to your club and give them a go, or you may have an idea that you've never thought of. I mean, a lot of these amateur coaches today are fantastic. Their knowledge of the game and everything, everything around it is phenomenal, but you can always learn a little bit more. And Richard Marshall's made his way to, one of the 10 elite clubs or 12 elite clubs or whatever, by working at that kind of thing, working under great coaches as well. So yeah, it's a good opportunity. That I think it's a fantastic thing, and I hope it's really well turned out. I mean, I know the players have been going up to the clubs to help the kids and that kind of thing. This is the next step up now. This is the level that are teaching these kids how to play the game, and that's a fantastic thing. And well done to Richie for giving up his time for that and all.
Yeah, a great teacher makes a great student, which makes a great player. That's probably no. I'm just making these quotes up as I go along, Parker, to be fair, but I think it's something like that, which is good. Obviously, like you say, he's coached at the highest level. He's coached at England Academy as well, so he's dealt with with players internationally as well, which is a thing. So, like you said, hopefully the local coaches will get involved and take what he says back to their clubs and make our club stronger in the area. So that's all the news coming out of the club, and next we'll
It's time for the Devil in the Details Big Match Review.
So, Salford Red Devils travel to Headingley Park, Leeds Rhinos this week, Friday night. Going to be a tough battle.
Always. I mentioned earlier about our record there. I don't think any of us need reminding how less than average it is. They've got players back as well. They look like they've got a decent squad out, so it's never easy. Leeds are obviously trying to switch on now and get into them playoff spots. I think we owe them a little bit of a performance because I don't think we showed the best of ourselves a few weeks ago at our place. But it's going to be tough. Big field there at Headingley. I dare say the weather will still be fairly warm. But for me, from what I've seen from the last, 2-3 performances, a lot of encouraging signs. Defensively, we look a lot stronger. Attacking wise, on Friday night against Wakefield, I saw some of the. I know the Cass game. It's hard to judge because it depends on your opposition. But on Friday night, I saw some great attacking moves, some good flowing rugby, which we haven't seen this year. And if we can combine the two, the defensive effort with the attacking, I think we'll give Leeds a lot of trouble. And I don't know if it'd be classed as shock if we did beat them. I'm not sure. We're not that far behind them. You know, it wouldn't be impossible.
We've got to make sure, Parker, that we play the team and not the occasion. Headingley, full house, Leeds at home. Their fans are gonna be, gagging for a big win, and we've got to make sure that we don't get sucked into that. So that's that scenario. Play the percentages, try and quieten the crowd down, and play the game we want to play rather than be forced into a high speed sort of to and fro game with Leeds Rhinos, because they've got some good players, haven't they? Leeds Rhinos, like Richie Myler, Gale. They've got class all over the field, so you've got to make sure that you don't feed into that sort of anxiety with the crowd, because they'll be fired up for it for sure.
Yeah, we need a strong referee. That'll be important with the pressure you'll get. I think we've got Phelan, haven't we, this week? And
yeah,
I think he's usually quite switched on. He's one of my favourite refs, if I'm honest. He seems fairly switched on when it comes to big games and big atmospheres. So yeah, they have got quality all over the pitch. But for me, I don't know. I thought from the start of the year they may struggle a little bit. A lot of people tipped them this year. I don't know where they got it from. And they are beatable, quite beatable. We've got players back, which is going to be key. And we're, again, not losing players to injury. That was the big thing this week. So we've got consistency, and Richard can now look at not a full squad, but certainly, a bigger playing squad, and think what's best for this game and who's best to play against this guy, who can handle this. They've got Hurrell out wide, who's a massive unit, who, I don't know, he'll be reunited with Lee Mossop, hopefully, at some point in the game. That'll be interesting to see. I'm sure they'll get on really well. But yeah, it's a really interesting battle. I saw earlier today somewhere when the squads were listed that somebody put, Leeds by 20 or 30 or something. And I thought, I don't buy that one bit. I don't see there being a blow away score. I really don't. We've just got, like you've just said, concentrate on ourselves. I think Tui had his best game on Friday night. He'll want to impress against Leeds. He always does. So that's that'll be a big thing for him. Sarge is back in the squad. Whether he comes in, I'm not sure. I don't know how much Richard Marshall wants to change a winning team. You don't generally, but do you leave out some of the quality of Dan? Although his disciplinary's not been great, and it is a big game, and the Leeds fans will get him. That's another catch-22. But like I say, we've got Moose back, skipper, who's an absolute leader and a legend in my eyes, to be fair. So it's going to be very interesting. Joe Burgess is back in the squad as well. Do you change that back line? I don't know, but it's going to be a real good tussle. It's great to see we've got so many players back.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. I think Richard Marshall will be happy as well, because he's getting sort of experienced heads back, like you say. Sargent back in the team, Mossop sort of back in the squad as well, and I think he wanted that. He wants sort of more experience in certain roles in the team, and it's only going to benefit us. It's a good headache to have. Obviously, Escali, I think, scored 4 tries in 3 games, so that's he's undroppable after in that kind of form. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there, Parker.
Yeah, I don't think you can drop him. I think he's one of them that has, he's been given his chance now. He's had a little bit of a run, and he's starting to pick up form. Inu has been phenomenal since he's come back in.
Yeah,
that's a centre spot gone. Kenny Seo, I think we talk about him virtually every week. What a fantastic player he is. So he's nailed in. Reece Williams on the other side. I thought Matty Costello's done very little wrong in the games that he's played. And like you say, you've got Burgess and Sargentson fighting for places in that back line. That's some headache that Richard Marshall's got to work out. The new guy whose name has just escaped me, and I've been trying to mention him for the last 5 minutes.
At Higano.
Yes.
Hingano.
Yes,
Hingano. It's Atta Hingano.
He could make his debut this week, which would help with the pressure on Ackers, who again has been in fantastic form. Again, Friday night, a real threat. So, yeah, a few real selection headaches for Richie Marshall this week, and not in a bad way where he's having to drag, 2 or 3 kids in on loan. This is his team that has been, trying to work together all season, and hopefully now we're getting to see, we'll get to see the best of it, and hopefully no excuses.
Yeah, obviously Atta Hinger now, we've just touched on him, obviously might make his debut. Interesting who he takes the place off, really. Chris Atkin playing well. I don't think you can drop him. Yeah, interesting. Andy Ackers, he's going to be on for a hooking role probably. So, will Richard Marshall think about maybe putting Atkin on a bench and rotating, or even Hinger now on the bench? You don't know how it's going to work, because I think when you look at sort of Richard Marshall's team selection, it's usually sort of 4 big forwards, but I think with some options on the interchange and changing the spine, I think that's an important thing for him, because he always talks about sort of having a solid spine and a spine that's the same. So will he willingly change it because he's got sort of strength in depth, or will he just sort of play with what he's got, considering at the moment he's playing well?
I think would be if he's to play, would have to come off the bench. I would drop Chris Atkin. I thought too, he had as I said, had a great game the other night. Ackers has really come into his own. Now he's got a run of games. Some of the stuff he's doing from acting half, he's fantastic. He's cutting teams open. And I think they obviously, Atkin and Ackers can rotate, but so can Ingerhow. So maybe to ease him in a little bit, but or maybe, like you say, Richard may decide to just go with four big forwards on the bench like he has done recently, and try and bully Leeds that way, because it's worked the last few games. And do you have, I suppose this is the key. You have to fight to get into the team. If you do get a chance, take it.
There was a guy called Jackson Hastings who came on and played against Leeds and played it out of his skin. Remember him? Could history repeat itself?
Name rings a bell.
Yeah.
I seem to recall he did something. He had a mate, didn't he, with him?
Can't remember his name either.
I don't think lightning's going to strike twice quite like that. But you never know. And the thing is, like I said before about the 2 lads from Warrington coming in on loan, it just adds to this squad now, and it gives us so many options. Obviously if Brownie's not going to be back, we've still got Dec Patton to come back into the team.
Yeah.
Those half-back sort of stroke hooker role now becomes, and I also thought about him earlier on. My mind's gone. Danny Addy. He's got to come back in at some point, hopefully. So, and he's played at hooker. So the options, could be unbelievable. I don't really know what's happened here.
Don't know. Your camera's gone off. I can clip this bit.
Yeah. Am I on?
Yeah, there we are. Back in the game.
I've moved. Oh, there I am. Sorry, it was the wife phoning me. She'll probably try again in a minute.
Well,
yeah,
you want to
go? Right, let me just get this, Bob.
Yeah,
sorry.
don't get it.
Yeah, sorry. One second.
Yeah.
Here we go.
I'm on the radio. Don't ring me.
Am I in position? Am I all right?
On this. You've moved now slightly.
Which way?
You're right. There we go. You're in the middle now-ish. I'll do. There you go. You're in the middle. Okay. So.
Sorry about
that. All right. Right. We'll go on 3. 1, 2, 3. So, Parker, give us your score prediction for the game against Leeds.
I'm going to go with, obviously, Salford win. I think the confidence we gained in the last few weeks, the players we've got back, And I have a sneaky suspicion that Leeds might underestimate us a little bit. And that form could see us through. So I'm going to go Leeds 16, Salford 23.
Salford 23. Is there a story behind that, Parker?
No, I think Leeds will take an early lead as we seem to start a little bit slowly.
Okay.
We'll creep into the game. We'll open up a little bit of a gap. Leeds will come back, but then Chris Atkin will nail a drop goal for us to kill the game off.
Job done.
Job done.
Paul's not here, so I'll do the weather forecast. I think it's going to be a bit of sun, bit of fun. It's only right, it turns on Saturday, doesn't it? It starts raining Saturday.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking it'll be a bit like thundery Thursday. So I'd take a coat in my car just in case you get over to Leeds and it's starting to rain a bit. On the pitch, full house at Edinley. We've beat Leeds there recently before, so we've exercised that ghost. So I'm going to go for Salford victory. I'm going for Leeds 10, Salford 32. 32-10. Inu hat-trick.
Nice.
There you go. And we'll be dancing in the streets of Headingley on Friday night.
I think the weather could have a big bearing. Even if it's not particularly as hot as it has been, which will still be very warm. If there is a bit of rain, the humidity, keeping hold of the ball, that kind of thing. And if we do go with the 4 forwards off the bench, just holding on to the ball, grinding out their meters, that could easily work in our favour. I wouldn't want to be Richard Marshall this week. I mean, I've not wanted to be him all year, if I'm honest, because
different reasons.
One reason. But this week, the headaches are very, very different. I'm sure he sat there at home, probably scratching his head, but actually secretly inside, really, really happy with what he's got to work with.
Yeah, we talk about that. Obviously, Richard Marshall's had a tough sort of baptism of fire at Salford with the injuries and the COVID and lack of form. But recently, slowly and quietly, he's decided he's managed to climb himself out of that sort of bottom spot, and now we're in a mid-table territory now, looking up.
Yeah, very much. I mean, it was tough at first. It was going to be tough for him anyway. New manager, new players, new club. Probably, you could say that the players that we'd signed, because we signed most of our players way before the end of last season, under Ian Watson, may not be his type of player. May not be his squad. I don't always buy that an excuse. I think you can mould players, you can make players better, but it will take time. Did he have enough time? We can debate that. COVID's been a massive issue. We got off to a shocking start. We had a horrible first 10, 12 games, whatever, we were unlucky in the cup. That golden point could have gone the other way. We could have been in the semi-final.
Yeah.
Another boost. Didn't work. But I think for me, the one game, the last two have obviously been great, but the one game that really stands out is the Huddersfield away game. Because of the effort that went in that night. It showed me that the players do care and the players do, are listening and do want to play for him. And I took something out. We went out 12 men for a long period, nearly an hour in that game. And to come away with a victory against a team and a manager that really wanted to beat us was a good sign for me. We let ourselves down against Leeds, but again, a few decisions went against us. Discipline was an issue, as it was early in the season. But since then, in the last 2 games, cast, we didn't play a full cast team. That's not our problem. We scored 70 points away from home, and that is tough to do, no matter who you play. And then Friday night, 12 points down, to turn the game around and actually dominate that second half. I don't think Wakefield were in it. They kicked the penalty, but other than that, our defence at times was unbelievable. They just showed me so much encouragement over the last 2-3 weeks that wasn't there a few weeks ago. And you're right. I think Richard Marshall probably now deserves a little bit more credit than he was getting. He had to prove a point. You don't just walk into it. You can walk into any club. People are going to be sceptical when you get there. I don't care who you are or where you're from, what you've done before. You've got to prove it at that club. We could have gone and got Wayne Bennett, but if he'd have lost the first 10 games, he'd have been getting the dog's abuse that any other manager gets. So, fair play to Rich, and he pops his head up every week, hasn't he? And he's come out and he hasn't given the press conference of it's a process like other managers do. He's admitted that the team's defence hasn't been good enough, attack, and certainly discipline. And he's obviously targeted and looked at the players, and he has moved a few players about a little bit, but I think now he's starting to get his own team and mould into what he wants.
Yeah, because I remember at the beginning we were kind of naming the Tinkerman because he kept moving stuff about, but obviously with the COVID and the injuries, he had to. So now getting a full strength squad back, he's able to sort of put out a team which is his, and we can obviously judge him on that. So far, like I say, he's turned the corner. He had the dogs at his door a few weeks ago, but the 2 or 3 wins on the spin now. We're in a good position, so you're hoping we can kick on. That's the big question with this team and him is, can we go again? Can we kick on? Because remember, we talked to Greg Burke, didn't we, in the off season when we got to the grand final, and they didn't quite sort of believe they could get to the grand final until about 2 weeks out. So with this team, where is it mentally? Where is it? We've gone from rock bottom nearly, to top of the bottom now, really. So have we got the mentality to go again and win the next 3, so we can go to the top of the middle, and then win the next 3 and go to touching near the top? And that's the big question for me. Players, look good. They look in a good position both physically and mentally. So you're hoping with the bodies coming back, we'll be in a better place in the next few weeks.
Yeah, I suppose in many ways it's like anything, but winning breeds confidence, doesn't it? And it's how do you get confidence to win games? What comes first? We've certainly looked like we've gained a bit of confidence. The Cats game would have done us a world of good as well. Yeah, scoring points freely as we did, and certainly in that second half of that game, switching it on. And I think now there'll be a buzz in that changing room. I think when they turned up on Monday morning, I'm sure they were all absolutely bouncing. And like I say, you start getting players back. The competition's there. You mentioned Greg Burke there, and he typifies everything for me for Salford. He's what I consider a typical Salford player, if you like. Nobody's ever going to be singing and dancing about him. Nobody's ever going to push him for international duty or anything like that. But rarely have I seen a player who would run his blood to water for the cause that he does. He for me, he's kind of captain material in many ways, but not in a. I mean, he is a funny bloke. We know that, and I'm sure he's I'm sure the lads love him in the changing room. You need a character, but as a role model, he goes out and he does his bit. He trundles that ball in. The other week he came on at Cats, played at hooker. Not a problem. You wouldn't have thought about it. And his attitude, he's spot on every single week, no matter what you do. And he never lets his head down. And now he's got a little bit running the team, and we started winning. No, I'm not saying that's Greg Burke. Don't get me wrong. It's not Wally Lewis. But there is something to that consistency, and having a player like him in your squad and in the changing room before the game, that sort of thing. So another leader, and it's people like that you need. You can have all your showpiece players, but you need the ones to do the dirty work, and he does that, Greg.
Yeah, you're right. All good teams have players like Greg Burke. For me, Greg Burke is like Paul Lighton Mark II.
Yeah.
That's what I feel. I think he grafts, he works hard, he makes his tackles he needs to make. He does the drives he needs to do. Nothing silly, up the jumper drives, and that's what you ask for. And I think good teams have the likes of Greg Burke in. Other players like him, Jack Ardenroy is another one. Jack Wells is another one. Players who just sort of graft and sort of make the tackles they have to make and do what they need to do, and get us in positions for the magic players to make the magic happen. So it's a good mix, I think, at the moment. But like I said, we're pleased for Greg. I think, and what we got from the podcast that Salford is his club now. I know he's a Wigan lad, and he started at Wigan, but I think being at Salford sort of changed him, and I think he sees Salford as his club now, which is great.
Yeah, it's funny how you make that parallel with Paul. And he was very much a Salford player, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was from Oldham. He played for Halifax, and then he came to us. And even now, you talk to him, he's nothing but love for the club, and it's he is that kind of player. He's very much the same. Another player that played the other night again that seems to go under the radar is Ollie Roberts.
Yeah,
he's not even our player, is he, Ollie? I think he's still on loan from Huddersfield anyway. He really impresses me. He does the work very quietly and never gets spoken about. Another one that's not been playing recently is Greenwood, who's a player that I really rate. Shame he's had injury worries. But there are players like that just seem to get on with the job when they're there. But you don't notice them. It's only when you look back and you look at the team lineup and you go, oh, yeah, he was there, wasn't he? But because he doesn't make a mistake, you don't want to scream at. He just does his job, gets the ball, and drives the ball in. That's his job. Just stick to doing that. Don't think Paulie, we know, has got a great offload. Big Seb's got a great offload. Leave that to them. You do your job. And that's what you need, and that's what we've got at the moment. And we've got this hard-working squad, and like I said before, we have got a Sargentson in the squad. We do have Burgess. We have got Escaré. Players are even two with flair. But they're no use if you haven't got the Greg Burks of this world.
I agree with that, Parker. You're only as strong as your weakest links, and if your weakest links are 8 out of 10 every week, you've got a pretty decent side. Yeah. So I think that's where we are, and I think that's where we've got our success before. That our 8 out of 10ers take the team to a sort of a 9 out of 10 when it matters, and I think that's the important thing going forward. As long as we keep winning, keep progressing, who knows where we'll go.
Yeah, we've just got to hope and pray now the next few weeks, even if we don't get anything on Friday, because as I say, Headingley's a tough place to go. We've got to focus on the next game, winnable. I think it might be Hull KR, is it, or something like that? A winnable game. We target that, then we go at that. We win that. You've just got to keep picking up as many wins as you can now. I'm not expecting Salford to be in the playoffs. That's my personal. I think I said it. There might have been a chance at the start of the season, but from where we were 3, 4, 5 weeks ago to where we are now is a completely different atmosphere. And if we can finish, like you said, that we're at the moment, we're probably at the top of the bottom, if you like, or whatever. If we can finish in the middle of that league on the budget we've got, on the crowds we've had, the suspensions and injuries and everything else we've had, I'd mark that down as pretty much a success. And then we have to build again. Now, it's how you do that. That's the issue. But we're not at that point yet. But we're looking up. That's the main thing now. We're not looking back. We're not too worried what's going on. But I think we've got enough wins in the bank now to keep us safe. But now it's time to drive on. That pressure's off of relegation, I think. Says, touch wood. But
so it's that kitchen table.
Forward, let's just give it a crack and see where we can go and see what this group of players have got.
Is it top 6? Is it playoff this time?
I think it is, yeah.
So the top sixth place at the moment is Hull KR, and they've got 60% win ratio. We've got 30% win ratio. So I suppose it's just it'll have to be a kind of 50% swing there to catch them. Still doable though, because like you say, Hull Kingston Rovers are on a good form at the moment, but it doesn't mean they're going to be in good form for the rest of the season, does it?
No, you'll see that with all teams. They'll have dips in form throughout the season, no matter who you are. It's impossible to be 100% every single week. We're having a up, if you like. We got them 3 big games out of the way that we needed that period of Saints, Warrington, and Wigan. They were obvious. Everybody's got to face them. Whether they face them week after week is a different matter. But and now we've got games that you would say are winnable with teams around us, and this is our phase now. What happens at the back end of the season? We'll probably have tough games again. So now we've got to get these points in the bank and then deal with that. And again, like I said before, the confidence we'll get from winning. Next time you face them bigger teams, it's not such a big step. Because there isn't, between the top and the bottom of the Super League, well, no disrespect for Lee, but maybe Lee, but there isn't a massive difference. There really isn't. It's just we know Saints are a phenomenal team, and Catalan are on an unbelievable season. But like we've seen with Wigan, you know, they fell away a bit. They're beatable. Hull always beatable. Hull KR, Cass, you know, Leeds. There's not an awful lot between the whole league, and it only takes you to win 2 or 3, and like you say, someone else lose a couple.
That's it.
The league looks completely different, as it does at the moment for us.
Yeah, so that's the end of this week's podcast, Parker. Good show, chatting all things Salford.
Yeah, I just want to say congratulations to Niall, by the way, for his Lance Todd trophy on Saturday afternoon. It was, you know, after all we've said about us not having an academy, not being allowed to have an academy, I think he had a great game. Obviously, Theo scored the opening try. You know, people like Jordan Turner out there, and you know, I think it just shows what we can produce when we're given a chance. But well done to Niall. You know, he worked hard in that game in a defeated side. I'm sure it doesn't really make up for it, but just great to see, you know, a Salford product like that who we nurtured from 14, 15, becoming a Lance Todd Trophy winner like Mark Snade did a few years ago. So well done to him.
Yeah, and well done for Theo for winning it as well. Obviously, he sort of started with us, didn't he? So he's kind of a sort of born into Salford, isn't he, really, isn't he? He's French, but he really has come from us, hasn't he? So well, congratulations to him as well for winning it. Big thanks for tuning in to this week's Devil in Detail podcast. I'm Rob Parkinson. You can find us on Facebook, Devil in Detail SRD. You can find us on Twitter at DITDSRD. And you can find us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Radio Contact, Spotify, and YouTube. See you next week.